Hello, this is Joe Peters with MomFit with Joe Peters. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network and the H.E.R Network on Single TV channels 250 and 251. If you don't follow me yet, go to Instagram and follow me at Joe Unicorn Coach. I am Joe, your host and owner and founder of MomFit. After over 20 years of working with corporations, leadership, and teams, and after having my own experience with motherhood through pregnancy and the fourth trimester, I decided that part of my mission in life was helping those future moms to be and those moms that are struggling in life, that are struggling to be moms, and help you to win the marathon of motherhood without burnout. It's a pleasure for me every week to have experts around the world to come and talk to you and help you to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Because, Mama, guess what? It doesn't have to be hard. You just need experts like Megan, like me, as your support system, so that you can actually know what you're doing and have the hacks and the tips that are going to make your life easier and that you will be able to enjoy motherhood instead of letting the years fly past without any joy. So if you have any topic that you would like us to talk, please go to Instagram, Joe Unicorn Coach, DM me. I manage my social media personally. Just say, hey, Joe, I would like to talk about this topic. I need help in this topic. And I will find experts like Megan so we can bring you exactly what you need to fit into your needs. Today is a very special program. Megan was a previous guest. She's one of the few ones that is repeating, and today we're going to be working about one thing that is special to my heart because I am working with my toddler in that through my coaching parenting. And that is cooking with our kids is the biggest bang of our parenting buck. So, Megan, welcome back. Megan is an animal and natural lover. She has been serving parents and children professionally for over 16 years. She has her own preschool and served in early childhood intervention doing a speech therapy. She is currently a foster and bio mom, and she is certified in positive discipline and is a behavior and parenting coach serving parenting's life and online. One of the things that I love of Megan, if you start following her in her social, is Megan had a very open mind way to say, hey, let's go over the tantrum, let's go over the problem, let's gonna find how we can have happy moments still with boundaries. So Megan, welcome. Let's gonna start with your phrase. I love this phrase the first time that we were here. I love it now. I always ask my guests to give me a phrase that they resonate with. Your phrase was, let us model turning oopsies into opportunities to learn and grow with our children. So, Megan, welcome. Let's going to start a little bit with your story about how you start falling in love with cooking with your kids and how you are using that as a huge tool. And about that phrase, what that phrase is all about, and how you came into that being one of your favorite phrases.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. So, full transparency, I don't love cooking. It's not something I have ever fallen in love with. It's something that was an obligation and all of that. But when I had my preschool, and we did all kinds of cool things. We crawdad fished, we built little dams in the river. We also cooked with each other. And what I found was my kiddos, I had 6, 3, and 4-year-olds, and they loved the cooking the most. And what through our experience together, I discovered I could bring any skill or behavior that I wanted to work on right into the kitchen. Those soft skills of manners and, asking and turn taking and those emotional skills and the hard skills of math and vocabulary and fractions. And I could bring everything that needed to be learned right into our cooking experience. And the kids loved it. It grounded and excited them. It was just the perfect combination, the perfect setting for developing their little minds and their brains. So definitely fell in love with it there. And then as a foster mom now, when I get a new kiddo, the first thing I do as soon as possible is invite them into the kitchen, because for so many reasons, it's been a forbidden territory for them. They've never been trusted in the kitchen most of the time. And I can model making mistakes and being okay. These kiddos from hard places, a mistake that they make can completely undo them. They feel so much shame and they just wear it. And so when I drop an egg or when I do something, I can just model, oh, oops, no big deal. I'll clean this up and we just move forward. And they're just dumbfounded, they're so surprised. And then when they make mistakes, I can model that they can trust me. I'm not going to blow up. I'm going to model offering to help. These skills that we want our kiddos to embody, we need to be modeling all the time. So I get to model, oh, you dropped an egg. That's okay. Can I grab a broom or a rag? What do you think would be most helpful for you? And I can model helping them clean it up, and we just continue on. No yelling, no melting. Um, and then with that intentional modeling, of course, is so beautiful, but it develops their confidence, their competence. It develops their autonomy that they can create things and I will try them. They can trust me. So it's just such a beautiful setting to really, again, practice all those soft skills, all those hard skills, and the emotional skills, and just really developing that bond and connection, which is the foundation of everything. You're muted.
I love that. And one of the things that I love about that, the cooking experience is also giving that empowering thing that they can transform and make something good, something delicious, something nice. So that feeling of empowering. Megan, one question that I have, because a lot of moms, and this is one thing that I want your expertise, a lot of moms, unfortunately, because they are just joining us and are just learning from experts like me and you, are depleted, are tired. So they are like, oh, it's going to be a mess. I'm going to have to clean a lot more. I'm going to make it faster if I do it alone. So they are afraid of going into the kitchen with their kids. So how early or how long they need to wait until they start doing that? And I'm asking you because I started doing it with my baby when he was like a year. As soon as he could get into the kitchen tower, he will. And then I get into that trap of, oh, it's spilling, it's taking longer, I need to go to work. So thinking productivity, I was like, it's easier if I do my breakfast alone fast. But then through coaching the last couple of weeks, they were like, that is part of the time that you enjoy with him. That is one of the things that you enjoy with him. So why you don't start doing it? And I started doing it a couple of weeks ago. And now that I'm aware of everything that you teach and that I'm doing, I'm enjoying it even more. So I want you to give us a little bit of insight into that. When is a right age, or if it's a right or wrong age, and how moms can balance that fear of is going to end being more work for me. And therefore, I'm going to avoid it because I'm already full, my plate is already full, versus how we can still enjoy some of those things and have that bond in the kitchen.
Great questions. Okay, so if we want to think of our goal with our kiddos, and it's just connecting. So if we're busy at the stove, we can say, hey, would you break this broccoli? And they can just break broccoli in a bowl and be done. We can invite them in for 1 minute to do one tiny task. We can load them up. We can highlight their goodness. Like, wow, you're having really calm hands. I noticed you're just staying on the stool and you're not getting off and running everywhere. So we don't have to invite them for the whole time. We can just invite them to do one tiny thing, and that's enough. We have made a solid connection and we've highlighted their goodness. The other thing that you mentioned is our kiddos want to be by us, next to us. They want to be in the kitchen with us because this is this magical forbidden place. So what we can do is just give them, I don't know, a handful of spinach in a bowl, some crackers. It doesn't even matter, but they're going to be stirring, and they think and believe they are important and they're contributing to the family meal, even though they're entertaining themselves in this bowl. And it actually keeps them off the ground below your feet, wanting you when they're just next to you or, close-ish, stirring random food in a bowl if it's not something that you can really have them help you with. A couple of macaronis. My sister, her little one is almost 2, and she sent a picture, and the little one was stirring half a sandwich, some spinach, and some nuts in a bowl. And it's, excuse me, and it's just meeting that end goal of connection and being together and practicing these skills of contributing and, the physical skills, the motor skills of your core, the balance, the holding the bowl, the hand-eye coordination. So my little niece was developing all these skills, stirring half a sandwich, a handful of nuts, excuse me, and some spinach. And the little one thought it was so amazing. And the other great thing, the reason that's so important is because little kids, when they're in the kitchen, they are seeing that green foods are safe. And she's tasting things. She's developing her palate. No sugar, no processed food was in that bowl. And so I guess the bread, but so they're understanding that food is safe. And the adult wasn't pressuring the little one to eat anything, but she was tasting it. She was developing this safety and comfort with foods of all colors, of all textures, of all smells. So I just shared 3 really important ways or reasons to get, kiddos in the kitchen. And I hope that answered the question of the pressure. 1 minute is all that it really takes to make that deep connection. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be actually helping with the meal. And developing that food competency, expanding the palate so we don't have such picky kids at the end. Did that help?
I love what you're saying, and I love how simple you make it because, especially for moms that are tired and depleted, it's very easy to go into that all or nothing. So it's I either don't let them get in the kitchen because it's going to be a mess, or I have to let them handle everything, and then it's going to be the kitchen. I love your example of the broccoli, and hey, get this broccoli, put it in pieces, still is cooking with you, still is being part of it, and probably the mess is going to be a lot less than if he's doing eggs or if he's doing milk. So I love that we never have to go to the extremes. We can find that middle that work for us. And I also love what you are saying about expanding the palate because I'm a big fan of keeping as long as possible our children away from some of those super addictive substances like refined sugar. And one of the ways to do it is doing it like that because there are studies that show that whenever we do something, we feel proud about it. Therefore, the likelihood of them to eat it is going to be a lot bigger. If I just give them a spinach waffle, they may just see, oh, that's green. That doesn't, I don't know how that looks like. I don't want it. But if they are cutting the spinach, if they are helping with this, then they have also that pride of, I did this with mommy, I did this with daddy, and then will be more likely to eat it. Now, um, one of the things that I would love to talk with you, and you have some um, insights here, is how you make it a routine. So, how are some of those tips that allow you to make it a routine where it's part of? Because I know this because I follow you. That is part of your life with your kids. My
Mhm.
that is part. I see them all week. So, what? How is that process for moms that want to start incorporating into that, to start making it a routine, to start making it part of what they do as a family?
Okay, great question. And I want to step back for one quick second and add one more thing to what I shared. Another big pressure that we think is if I invite my kids in and we create a mess, they have to clean it up. And that creates a lot of overwhelm. And I actually encourage don't make your kiddos clean it up. Invite them to clean up one thing if that's where their level is, because you've had this beautiful bonding moment. And now they're going to be forced to clean up, and it's going to kind of undo everything that was done. And, we have in my program, we have a cooking show, and we've already been together 30 minutes. When we invite our kiddos into the kitchen, we've already been together side by side in each other's bubbles for an extended period of time. And to ask them to clean up all of the mess, they're going to be overwhelmed. It's not going to end well. So, especially, young kids, they don't want to clean. It's never been a positive experience, likely. So, it's going to undo all the beauty, all the beautifulness that was just created. So, I invite wherever your child is, ask them to clean up one thing, next time, two things. And it's in delight. They're going to feel good that cleaning up is just as amazing as doing. So, that should release a lot of the pressure. We don't have to make our kiddos clean it up because that's where a lot of the meltdowns happen. So, just wanted to share that. And so, how do I make this a part of our routine? I would love to invite my kiddos into the kitchen every day, and I try to. But once a week is good enough. Truly, it really is. On the weekend, when I have more time and space, and the cool thing is, my daughter, she just turned 10 last week, but she creates all her own meals. She creates her own breakfasts, her own lunches, and I we usually create the family dinner together once a week, and that's how that rolls. But um, yeah, once a week is when your mindset, you got to have a poopy mindset. I developed that term, and I'll share what that is, and it just helps us really get into the right space to invite our kiddos in. So, poopy, what is it? The first P is patient. We have to decide that we can be patient because what's our end goal? It's not the dish, it's connection, it's communication, it's cooperation. So, that's that first P, patience. The two O's in the middle is oopsies into opportunities. Again, that phrase coming in, we have to want to see those messes as yes, this now I get to model how to clean up an egg, grace through making a mistake, all these amazing things that we would like our kids just to, these skills that we would like them to just have. But, when a kiddo drops an egg and we say, okay, clean it up, and they just smear it all over, they've never been taught, oh, you have to clean it like this, very specifically. We get to do that. We get to intentionally be in that poopy mindset of, oh, great, I can model how to pick up an egg. Um, and then the other P is playful. Can we be a little playful? That's where our kids can listen to us most, is in that playful state. And then if it's a yes, that why to all of that, you're in the right mindset to invite your kiddo in to make cookies or whatever it is, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Okay, so two great things on that one. The first one is I love that you went back and clarified that topic because that is where we have a lot of pressure, especially from society, from grandmas and aunts, into you are not teaching them to clean. They are not going to learn. If they are cooking, they also have to clean. And you are right. Like, depending on where you are, for example, if you are a mom to be, you can learn and take another one of Megan said. And since they are babies, teaching them to clean. For example, I'm gonna share with you my toddler. I'm doing cleaning with my toddler since he's 6 months old. I start cleaning before I start cooking with him. So my toddler don't have any problem. Like even when he spills something, he just look at me and say, oh," and then I just give him a towel or something and he clean it. So if you are still in that phase, know that you can develop both skills where cleaning is not something tedious or boring for them, but it just if you do it soon enough when they are babies, it becomes something that they just do. I spill something, I clean. Now, I love your technique and your hack for when you are starting this a little later, like maybe the baby's already 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Say, like, pick one thing and then make it, and don't make it a big deal if you have to clean everything. Hey, help me cleaning this, and then start moving on. And I love that because it takes that pressure of the I'm parenting right or wrong. So if my kid is not parenting, is not cleaning, then I'm not being a good parent. I'm letting them go. So I love how you are giving the moms the freedom to say, and I'm gonna steal what you just say in the other part. It's about the connection. So it's not about you being a good parent because he clean everything. It's about how you enjoy the time there. Your poopy is amazing and I love it. So what I'm saying, what I'm repeating, so be patient, transform oopsies into opportunities, have play, have fun, be playful, and the why is yes. At that point, you're in the yes mode. And one of the things that is fantastic with what you said there is it's not about the dish, mama. So one of the things that start going into my head is you also need to have some planning. And look what Megan said as the expert. She said that she put it on the weekend when she had the space to be puppy, work smarter, not harder. So if you have guests coming to a very special dinner and you are already stressed about all those people and your husband is not helping to clean the house, maybe that is not a good dinner for you to involve your kids. I love that. I will invite all of you to write that down and put, remember what Megan said, when I'm cooking with my kids, it's not about the dish. If the dish, for any reason, had some emotional connection with you that is creating you, that has to come along in a certain way, then that's a red flag that that is not a good time for you to cook with your kids. Make it a time that it would not matter if the waffles get black or taste a little off. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Um, do you agree with me? Like, what
Oh,
is
yeah.
that a good go or no go into when to decide to bring them on?
Yes, yes. And through this process, when your kiddo becomes a little equipped, they actually will be helpful in the kitchen. Hey, will you cut these carrots? And I need them cut julienne, just like this. Okay, mom, I can do that. They can help when they have those skills. Trust in themselves and trust in you. When that trust is there, they can do that, but it's got to be built up over time.
Now, one other thing that is fascinating, because this is a misconception that we have, and through positive discipline and to the safety circle with our kids, I'm also learning that, and that is, I love how you said about mistakes don't define us or defeat us, and then how we can stay connected with our kids even through direction and correction. So it's going to talk a little bit about how we handle those mistakes and how we use them, those oopsies, in the kitchen to grow their self-esteem, to know that they don't define them or defeat them, and also to practice that we can direct and correct without separating, without creating the division, with still having that connection.
Okay, I love these questions. What just popped into my mind that I would love to share is we actually learn best when we make mistakes. We learn best. And so when my daughter's cooking, I don't remind her, hey, that temperature on the griddle is a little high. Do you want to turn that down? No. I let that be at 500 degrees and I'm going to let those pancakes burn, baby, burn. I that way I can come side by side with her in that moment when she's like, "Oh my gosh, look what's happening." I'm like, "Oh wow, what is happening? Let's look at this together." And then she can tell me, "Oh, the temperature is way too high. Oh, I see that." And she can fix it. And I am right there by her. And so we are enhancing our connection. She can make mistakes in grace. No one is getting dysregulated. But if I were to, first of all, shame her for having that temperature too high, or if I just secretly turned it down without her noticing, nothing would be learned. She's going to have that temperature way too high next time. So I love those mistakes. Those are the moments that when we're in a poopy mindset, we can capitalize on to deepen our connection because those mistakes give that opportunity for that extra connection, communication, and cooperation to happen. What?
I love that. I love that because what I was thinking is you hear all the moms and there are Instagram reels and TikTok that says, "Oh, I want my kid to know that when they are in trouble, when they are in teenagers, all that, that they could call me and I'm the first person that they think about." Well, if you yell at your daughter because she put the oven at 500, Or if you twist it, you are not there at 14 where she's having 2 beers and everybody else is having 2 beers. Trust me, she's not going to call you and say, hey, mom, everybody here is having beers. Can you come and pick me up? That is what we want, right? Because we want to keep them safe. So things like what Megan is saying, I want all of you to see how that connect for the rest of their life. You are developing skills that are going to keep them safe, secure, and knowing that you are a safe space, that you are a safe place for them to reach out and say, hey, mom, I have this issue. Hey, mom, I have this problem. Hey, mom, I don't know how to fix that, because they know that you are, like you say, you're not shaming them. Because the reality is, who likes to be shamed? Like, after also, and I want to hear your opinion on this, that is probably the easiest way to make sure that your kids don't want to cook with you ever again. Like, after 2 or 3 times that you lose your cool, that you shame them because they didn't follow the instruction, because they're going to be like, I suck at this. My mom is always telling me that I'm doing things wrong. I'm just gonna go and play games. Like, I don't want to cook anymore. I don't want to cook with my mom. I'm not good at this. And funny enough, this is not parenting, but it's something that is very close to my heart too. That is exactly the same pattern that we have when our partners are helping us with something in the house and we correct them. And we're
Yes.
like, oh, no, 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 you don't do it like that. You do it like this. There are a couple of times our partners are like, okay, so then do it yourself, do it by
Mhm.
yourself, because how I do it is not good. And the same happened with the kids. So I will invite moms hearing Megan now to see if any of these patterns are coming into your life, into your home. If you are needing to work a little bit on losing control, on being flexible, of knowing that your way is not the only way, that there are other ways. And I fall in love with this part from Megan earlier. It's not about the dish. Remember the why. Remember why you are doing this. You are doing this to connect, to build trust, and to make sure that your kids know that they can reach out to you at any point. Megan, this one is one of my completely favorites in the entire world because I'm a huge fan of this. I'm a huge fan of the five languages by Dr. Gary. And you touch about this too. So let's gonna talk a little bit about how cooking with kids give opportunity to communicate all five languages to them, why that is important, and how we can start using that. And maybe if not all our mommies are familiar with the five languages, give a little brief of what the five language is, that I completely am a fan with and super important, and how cooking can help us to talk in all five languages.
Okay, yeah. So the five love languages, we all have them, and we all have a most needed love language. So Joey might have to help me out in remembering all of them to articulate them. So we've got time, quality time. We have acts of service, gifts, words of affirmation, and what's that last one?
Physical touch.
Physical touch, which is my daughter's favorite. Hello. And time. And, when we want to spend quality time with our kids, we all know that we need to do this with our kids. So we play with them. We play trucks and we play dolls and we do these things, which is very important. But nothing connects us that we can model these, we can embrace these love language with our kids than cooking. We are side by side giving quality time. We can touch them and, hold them while they're on their stool and just, touch their hair. What if, of course, if your kiddo is resistant to that, we're not going to do that. And then, oh, have a bite of my cookie. You're giving a gift. You get to load your child up in all five love languages in a way that nothing else can.
I love that, and I love that because mommies, the love five love languages. Actually, you can go online and get the quiz for yourself. And he also have a love languages for kids. And one of my team members, Ale, did it for her kids and had amazing results. Is Dr. Gary Chapman, and the five love language is just telling you, how do you feel love the most. We all have them, but like Megan is saying, we have one or two that are the strongest. Why that is important, and I love, like, this is mind blowing how something as simple as cooking can help you to identify which ones are the ones that your kid responds the best. because you have a love language. Megan had a love language. I have a love language. They may not be the same. And that is
Mhm.
exactly the same like if I'm speaking in Japanese and Megan is speaking in Russian and you are speaking in Italian. In Japanese, I can tell Megan all day long that I love her. And I'm telling her that I love her. But if Megan doesn't speak Japanese, Megan is going to be like, I guess so. Okay. She's not going to feel it. She's not going to understand it. The same happened with the love languages. And that is why it's important that we understand what is our love language and what are our children's love languages. And I never thought about this, and it's genius, Megan, because you are able to explore all five of them and observe. Huh? My kid got a lot more excited with these two love languages when we are cooking. Huh? Let's gonna try those two in other areas because the reality is, and I think that this is something that we all moms universally agree with. One of the things that we want to know is we want to make sure that our kids feel that they are loved unconditionally. And one of the best ways is being able to speak in their own love language. So, what are some of those stories about that you can share into how we can play with those love languages? Because I know that you were saying that what kids need the most after their biological needs are met, of course, the most minimum are trust, significance, and belonging. So, how we can mix those with the five languages and how trust, significance, and belonging can be there. And this is very close to my heart because, especially, significance is very important, especially for daughters and females, because I am a recovery for that. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars working on that belief of not being worthy, of that my significance was not there because I never had that modeling at home that showed me that my significance was important, that I was significant, that I was worthy to be there. So it's gonna be talking about that trust, significance, and accept trust, significance, and where are it? Trust, significance, and belonging. How we can work on those three through cooking and through the five languages.
Okay. So at the foundation of being human, we have to have a sense of significance and belonging. We have to know that we matter to the people around us. We have to know that they want to hear our voice. Without that, we don't want to behave. We don't care what they think. We don't care what they want. And so, if we want better cooperation with our kiddos, we want them to listen to us and cooperate with us. They have to know that they matter to us in profound ways, not just on the surface level, that we trust them, that their voice matters. And we let them know that when we don't blow up and when we invite their voice, we're giving them choices. And we're inviting them to be side by side with us, contributing to the family. That's how they get a sense of belonging. And so when they're making that dish with you, and then you can serve it to the family, and everyone says, "Thank you, this was amazing," or "This was great." They light up, and they know, wow, I belong here. What I do matters, and it contributes positively to everybody. And this is a behavior I want to repeat in the future because this feels amazing. So that's how we can ensure, or that cooking with our kiddos is one way we can ensure that feel a sense of significance and belonging, and that we trust them and they can trust us. And that they can trust themselves. And so that three-part equation is so essential. Um, when our kiddos ask us for something, we need to say, this is just a little sidestep, but when they ask us for something, we need to say yes as often as possible. And we can help them negotiate in a way where we can hold our boundary and also say yes to any element that we can. Because when we are always saying no, 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 they lose trust in themselves, that they can't ask for what they need, what they want, because they're always being told no anyways. So again, when we say no too often, we are depleting their significance, their their trust in themselves, their trust in us, our trust in them, and that sense of belonging. Um, so again, we're going to say no lots. Don't even worry about saying no too much, but there's lots of times where we can find a yes within what they're asking to build that trust. Um, you asked how, we can, I would say, when you're thinking about the five love languages, find your own first, because if you are always told no, maybe you don't ask for things that you need and want often enough. So find your love language first. If you have a significant other, find theirs, talk about it. How can you ensure that each other is meeting their own and each other's? Um, and then after that, yeah, I would say, when you invite your kiddos in, pick one of the five each time and see, like Joe mentioned, see which one lights your child up the most. And again, you can hit all five of them every single time, but maybe just focus on one just to get that data, and just see what your kiddo really, how they resonate with that. And then one more step, whichever one or two that you found they delighted in most, pull that into when you wake them up. Load them up with the love and the way they feel the most. It will set them up for a really great day. We have something that I teach, an amazing morning routine so that your kiddos can get off on the right foot. Um, you mentioned, Joe, um, your own past trauma, your own a little bit, and how that impacts now and how you're working on things and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And oh yes, it's expensive. Me too. So what I have come to understand and see is when we have resistance to cooking with our kids, where did that come from? Is it really about right now, the mess right now? Or is it something that happened in the kitchen with our significant adult? And so um, I invite everybody, all of us, to go back and get support in going back, because it can be a hard thing to do, but go back and see what happened, why it happened, so that you don't carry those patterns and those triggers forward with your kids. This is how we break cycles. This is how we rebuild our family legacy.
And talking about that, let's gonna talk about two topics there. And one is how the generations are evolving, right? Like I still remember my grandma in Colombia, like taking everybody out of the kitchen. She didn't want anybody in the kitchen, not her kids, not or us, the grandkids. I think that every now and then she let one of us to sit down in a little stool, wood stool, to just stay there watching her and smelling all the things that she was cooking. But I love how you are saying, start thinking about what are your memories and see what is coming up for you. But then one that is very important, and I think that you have a lot of insight. Before that, I love what you were saying about the no, to also remind moms, and again, our audience are moms to be. If you're a mom to be, or if you're a mom of a newborn, I want you to start being conscious that the average baby hears no 400 times per day. That is ridiculous. And why you need to know that? Because if you know that, you are going to make a conscious effort to be outside the average. Like, do I tell E no? Yeah. As much as we have an emotion game that match face and animal faces emotions, and there is a face of you can see that the big wolf is scolding the kid, and then he sees that and says, "Daddy, no, Daddy, no." So he knows that that is when it's no. But I love how you are saying inviting, and this is another golden nut that I want all of you to write down is for every no that you are saying, how many yeses you are saying. And sometimes instead of saying no, how you can say yes instead to something else to redirect. So your kids are not all the time hearing no, 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 no. Like that is how we don't have strong self-esteem and confidence. Like if I grow up almost like if I was in glass, a bubble that everything is no, then how we are going to expect that teenager to be able to be confident and face up bullies and shine. So thank you so much for that nugget. Now, with what you were saying, this is the other topic that is challenging: cooking without paying attention to gender. And this is one that goes into those old generations of boys don't belong to the kitchen or girls belong to the kitchen, so I'm gonna cook with my girls, but my boys cooking, no, they need to be playing with trucks. And then how we can go into removing those stereotypes of gender, of what activities are gender specific, going back into the cleaning as well. So how we can cut ourselves if we had any of that pattern with our parents or grandparents, that majority of us did. Because if we are in this age, like if you are older than 30, your parents had those stereotypes 99% sure of what is girls, what is boys, what are the things that the girls do, what are the things that boys don't do. I will say that even in Goodyear, one time we had a boss that says that that he didn't like females in leadership because females belong to the kitchen and the laundry room. And this was in 2010.
Yes.
So, how we help these moms to cut up when they have some of that resistance, and how we tell them that is as important, and I humbly will say even more important, to put the time into doing that with our boys and our girls.
Oh, love this. And actually, this will tie right back into what we were talking about just a second ago, is how we can say yes. So when our this is validation, and this validating our kiddos and other adults first opens the mind and heart to receive. And so for our child, let's pretend they want a cookie right now. And you can say, "Oh, thank you. You want a cookie." You reflect that back to them so they know that you understand. You understand. Then you can say, dinner's going to be in 20 minutes. You can have the cookie after dinner. So you're saying no, you're holding your boundary, and you're also saying yes. You're actually not even saying no. You're just holding your boundary, and then you're saying yes. And then you can also say, thank you for asking what you want. So if you want your daughters and sons to start asking for what they want, you want to highlight that goodness and be that model. Now, if you are a mom and you want to break this cycle, these generational problematic patterns of boys don't belong in the kitchen, they and girls do, then when we have a significant other or a loving family member that are like, "What are you doing? This is uncomfortable for me." You can validate first, open their heart and their mind to receive, and you can say, that is a past thing that I know is hard to let go of. It's hard when we can see the times are changing. And I want my boys to be equipped in the kitchen. I want them to support their wives later down the road. I want them to develop the confidence that cooking brings. I want to cook with them. Hello, this is how we are bonding right now. And I can understand your concern. And it's scary. It's really scary because you weren't invited into the kitchen if you were, a boy or a girl. And time changing things is scary. And I can appreciate where you're coming from. And I'd also like you to understand where I'm trying to go.
I never hear somebody saying this like that, because especially if you are trying to be a good parent, you may, and you are going into watching this show and things like this, you are into that positive parenting, modeling, all that, and you hear a lot validate, validate, validate. One thing that blew my mind today that I never hear anybody else saying was, you say validate to open their heart to receive. Like I had goosebumps. Like how powerful is that we understand that when we are validating our children and our partner, we are validating them to say, to give them the confidence of speaking up, but also with that, we are opening their heart so that they are open to receive and we can construct together. So thank you so much. That was a huge, huge, huge breakthrough for me. Now, Megan, how this evolve into them being confident, because I know that part of this is confident, into when they are in school, when they are facing a bully that is such a, like, I was crying last week because I was saying like, now we are seeing news about bullies being bullies like in first grade. Like it's getting crazy, the lack of emotional connection of some families, how is bringing that. So how the skills that they are developing with us, following your process, following your system, following this environment, can not only have a better connection with us, but help them with others to be better.
Okay, I'm going to say something that might be hard to hear. So I want everyone to open their minds and their hearts. And I know this comes from our past, but, and many of us are bullies to our own kids. We are not kind enough. We are stressed. We really, really are maxed out. We are stressed. But if someone talked to us the way we talk to our kids a lot of the time, if someone touched our bodies the way we touch our children's bodies a lot of the time, so we are modeling that bully behavior right in our own home without even recognizing it. So that's step one. It always starts in the home. Next, we want our kiddos to have confidence. Like you just said, we need to let our kiddos show displeasure in what we are doing. If they don't like the food we cook and they say, I don't like this, do we punish them? Do we shame them for telling us something they don't like? We always want to be thinking of the unintended consequence of our actions because it makes an impact. So if we don't like a behavior they're doing, how can we change it without saying no? So, if something that I have taught is, and my children use, if my children don't like something I have prepared, they know to say, I don't prefer this at this time. I'm like, oh, thank you for letting me know. They're not saying, I don't like this, and it just helps them be open to trying it next time. And it's just a softer way of saying, this isn't going to work for me now. So we can change their behavior to be more appropriate, but we're also not telling them, don't say that, eat it anyways. Because that is telling them when your friends are saying, doing stuff, you don't have a right to tell them you don't like it. We have to build these patterns in them and this confidence in them while they're young. So we want them to be able to tell us no. And I know that's really, really hard. And we can say, oh, thank you for telling me that you don't want that. You can say, no, thank you, mommy. So you can change their behavior to be more respectful and appropriate, but you're allowing them to express their feelings. It's very interesting that our child is small, we go into a room and our child's kind of, huddled next to us and we're like, what are you doing? Everyone else is playing, go. And then when they're teenagers, we're like, don't do what everyone else is doing, come. We're giving these very conflicting messages. So we want to validate and make sure that we're practicing patterns and behaviors that we want them to have later.
I love that. This has been an amazing episode, Megan. You are full of wisdom and love. Thank you so much. We have a lot of mommies that are falling in love with you. So please, briefly before we end the show, tell us how they can reach out to you, how they can connect. I know that you have some Facebook groups. I'm being in one of them. So how they can connect with you.
Thank you. Yep. Megan Duncan is my name, and my group is Connected Kids Thrive. You can find me online and in Facebook. Connected Kids Thrive Community is my parenting group. We practice respectful, equipped, intentional, invested parenting to just come alongside our children, teach them the things we want to teach them in love and grace and kindness and firmness. And so, if you're interested in more, we're actually running a challenge right now about building your family team meeting and how essential that is to making sure that our kiddos feel heard, are a part of the problem solving process. And so, yeah, if you're interested in any of that, follow me, join me. And yeah, Joe, you've been so amazing. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk here. And I love the work that we're doing. We're changing the world, and every mom listening is changing the world.
Yeah. So, mommies, Connected Kids Thrive. Go follow Megan. And again, if you are not following me, as is in the screen, go and follow me at Joe Unicorn Coach so you can keep up with all the things that we are doing. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out www.spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it.